Well, hey everyone, welcome to Techntux's Let's Learn Industrial Craft 2, Part 1. Let's get started. Alright. Hello, cow. Yes, you. Alright. These are really neat. They're part of Industrial Craft 2. They're called Luminars, I think? Luminators? Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me make it midday. Alright. So with any mod that you install or use, and with Industrial Craft 2, you can actually get Industrial Craft 2 real easy. If you go to, and I'll put the link below, to Tekkit, it's spelled T-E-K-K-I-T, that will actually allow you to download an entire modded client that has Industrial Craft, Red Power, a whole bunch of other mods. In this Let's Learn, I'm just going to be showing you Industrial Craft. No additional mods, no add-ins for it. I'm just going to show you how the basics work. With any mod that you play, make sure that you get a house built first with a bed and whatever else that you want in there to begin with. The reason being that if you don't have your basic house, all the stuff in the world that you have is not going to do you any good. A creeper might sneak up on you and blow stuff up. So make sure you have your basic house built, a nice bed to live in, and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, let's head back out over here. Hello, Skelly. Yes, you're interrupting my Let's Learn. Go that way. Go away. Out. Thank you. Alright. So, if you'll notice, I'm being able to move around much quicker than normal. I will show you in a later Let's Learn episode as to why. But I will show you what I'm wearing, which is a quantum suit armor. Alright, so where do we begin with Industrial Craft? Well, after you have your basic house built, and you've started mining stuff, and all that kind of good stuff, you're going to run across different ores down below. One of these is going to be copper, which is going to look... Let me just go ahead and spawn some of that in. And I'm also going to spawn some tin in for you as well, so that you can see what this looks like. And yeah, that should be good for now. So we'll just stack that here. Speaking of creepers, what in the world was that? Oh boy. I seem to have made an explosive combination for some reason. Interesting. Alrighty then. Let's get back to the task at hand here. Alright, so that's what your basic copper is going to look like. The reason that I'm... Just ignore the explosion in the background there. Let me actually make sure that the sound is turned down so that it's not quite as loud for you. There we go. Alright. Let's just survey the damage here. Okay. Sweet. Perfect beginning to a Let's Play. Alright, so the reason I have no texture packs installed is I want you to see what this looks like with vanilla Minecraft. Because not everyone's client can support textures, at least high resolution ones. So I want to make sure you know what these look like. Alright, so once you've found these, let's go ahead and I'm just going to grab a regular pick, just like you've seen in all, Minecraft before. And we're going to go ahead and grab these, and then it just gives us these back. Alright. Now, these work just like if you were to find iron ore underground, basically. So let's go ahead and we'll get in ourselves a furnace here. And we'll drop that down just right here. So this is your regular vanilla Minecraft furnace. And we'll add some coal into there. Alrighty. Excellent. And then we'll just stick in some copper there. And right next to that we'll stick another one of these down, and we'll grab half the stack of coal that's in here. Oops, let's see, let's turn this back onto creative so that I can actually do this. And there we go. Alright. So now we have one copper ingot, that's working on the tin. And that's all fine and nice. That's what we're used to in Minecraft. We get, an ingot out of something that we make like that. Well, that's great if you didn't have the Industrial Craft 2 mod installed. But since we do, we're going to make some machines. Now we need a few components to do that. So you will have to use basic furnaces to begin with to be able to do it. The other thing we're going to need, and let me go in here actually, and let's see, I think it should be in one of these chests here. I have, whole stacks of everything that you're going to be using in Industrial Craft. Except for the tree tap. Apparently I only have one of those. Alright. So let's go ahead over this way. And let's see, I'm going to jump really high here. Okay, so these trees here, and let me make it midday so it makes it a little bit brighter so you can see that better. And also, let me make sure that I have... Nope, I don't have my brightness set up. There we go. Now that should make it much easier to see. Alright. So these trees here that have these usually 2 to 3 leaves sticking out the top are very unique. These are spawned in by Industrial Craft, and they are called rubber trees. And the reason for that is this little spot on the side that you see here. And when you right-click that spot, you're going to get resin out. Let me turn off creative mode here. So now we got 3 sticky resin out of that. And we can go over here and we'll get more out of there. Also, to make sure, never double-click that spot. Because if you double-click it, you'll lose it permanently, and then you'll never get it back on that specific tree again. And then, if you want saplings out of these trees, let's see, I don't have creative mode on right now. Let's go ahead and just... Oh, there we go. Already got one. Sweet. So there's a rubber tree sapling. These are actually not very common. I'm surprised I got one so fast. So sometimes you may not get one on a tree, and sometimes you will. It varies. So, alright. So that gives you the basics there as to resource collection. Now, you're probably wondering, well, tree tap, how in the world do I make that? That's actually going to be quite easy. So let me grab some planks here, and I will show you how that's done. So we're going to do the basic Minecraft stuff, and remember, like I said at the beginning, you want to have all your basic stuff in place. I didn't, unfortunately. To make a tree tap that I was just using, we're going to take some wood and stick it into the crafting table, and there we get our tree tap. Let's make another one here, just so that you can get it. Kind of look at it, and you notice how it looks like the tree tap over here looks like a faucet, and then in the crafting table it kind of looks like the same thing. That's the general idea, because when you're trying to get resin out of trees, you kind of have a tap that you stick into the side of the tree in real life, honestly, and so this is kind of going off the same thing here in Industrial Craft. Alright, so what do we do with the resin? Well, we stick that into the furnace. And we get some nice stuff out of it, and I'll actually show you what it's called here. It's rubber, basically. And that's the reason they're called rubber trees, because resin gives us rubber. Alright, so we're going to need a sufficient quantity of that, because we're going to make some basic machines. Now, I'll actually show you what some of these are. Let me go ahead and get this where you can see what I'm doing here. Let's see, I need a basic... this might actually be quicker. I'll save these for later demonstrations here, basically. So, alright, the first thing I want to do is I need some way of generating power. Because with Industrial Craft, you don't just have your regular furnace. You also have stuff for generating power specifically for Industrial Craft. And the first one of those is a generator. So we're just going to grab ourselves a stack of 64. And we'll go ahead and put one of those down. Now the reason I'm just spawning one in and not actually showing you the recipe, I'll do that in just a minute here. But first I want to demonstrate basically what it does. So we take and put some wood into there. And let me actually turn the sound back up on this just a little bit. It must not be a very loud machine, because I'm just barely hearing it here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now I can hear it much better. Alright, so I think it's just my sound that was turned down. So let's turn it down just slightly. Alright, so that basically generates our basic power. And if you notice, it's filling up this meter here. Once that's full, it'll stop producing, basically, if it's not connected to anything else. So I'm going to dig this out, because I'm going to be adding something into this soon. And I'll show you basically. So, what is the recipe for the generator? Well, let's change this to recipe mode. And let's click that. Alright, so we need a re-battery, a iron furnace, and refined iron. How in the world do I make any of those? I will show you. Alright, so let's just spawn in some iron ingots. If you let's learn assumes that you know how to play basic Minecraft. Let's see here. Well, that's strange. let's see, we got, let's do ingot. Iron ingot. There we go. Alright, so let's switch this back to cheat mode. And let's see, I'm still not liking where the music volume is. There we go. Much better. Alrighty. So now we're back in cheat mode. We grab some iron. Then we're going to go over to this crafting table. Don't ask me why I have flowers in there. I have no idea. So we're going to take the iron ingots, and the way you would normally make a furnace is that you would put stone on the outside of a crafting table. Well, let's do the same thing, and that gets us an iron furnace. The iron furnace basically has the same interface as a regular furnace, uses the same fuel type, so you can put wood in there, coal, charcoal, and burn all that, and do the same thing basically as these do, except faster. Alright, so basically, that's one of the first things you probably want to make before you make anything else in industrial craft. Other than these tree taps, you want to make an iron furnace. So those are the first two things you want to make. Alright, let me change it back to midday here. Alright, so once you have your iron furnace and your basic tree tap in place, and you've collected some resin and made it into rubber, and you also have your copper and also tin, so we'll grab some of that, and we'll just grab a whole stack of each, because I'm going to need a decent amount of it here. The next thing you want to make is some copper wiring. Well, copper wiring is not hard to make once you know the recipe, so here we go. To make copper wire, just basic uninsulated copper wire, we take 3 copper ingots and put them across the center of the crafting table, and that gets us 6 insulated wire. Uninsulated wire. Alright, so now we have 6 of those. Now if we put those back on the crafting table there, take the 6 rubber we just got out of our furnace over there, we get copper cabling, which is exactly what we need. Alright, now we had a few things that we needed to make for one of these generators. One of those, and let me actually look up the generator again, and we'll just go ahead and press R while looking at it. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Very good. There we go. Alright, so we know how to make an iron furnace already. Refined iron. Where in the world does that come from? And what is a re-battery? Alright, those are the next two things I'm going to show you. Alright, so in an iron furnace, we will take and put iron ingots. And we're going to put them up here. You're like, why are you sticking iron back in the furnace? Well, here's why. Spawn in some wood here. We're going to stick that into here. Oh, wait a minute, it's processing it. What in the world? What's it making? Let's see. Hey, we got refined iron. So this is basically how we make refined iron. Once you have your iron ingots from vanilla Minecraft, you take and stick them back in any furnace, and that's going to give you back refined iron. And that's used in a ton of recipes. Alright, so now we got the two things done. So now we have part of the recipe. And let's see. Yeah, alright. So, the next thing we need to work on is the battery. Now, how do we make one of those? Well, I will show you. So we in Minecraft, redstone, which is what I'm going to spawn in here. Basically, like if you were to run redstone, and you have your switch attached to that, which I don't know if I have any switches on me, or I guess levers as they're called in Minecraft, and you have that attached to something, it powers it up. So essentially, redstone is power. So think of it like redstone power. Alright, so based around that same concept, a battery kind of does the same thing. So here we go. So we have a stack of tin here. What I'm going to do, let's take a close look at the battery, and I'll actually show you the recipe here. So here is a re-battery, which is what I'm going to be making here. That's what's in that recipe. So we're going to press, let's see, R, which shows me the recipe because of the extension that I have installed here for it. Alright, so we got 2 redstone in the center, we got 1 copper cable, which I showed you just a little bit earlier how to make, and we got the tin along the side. Awesome. Alright, so we put the tin along the side. Think of this like the casing for the battery, basically. Then we stick the redstone in the center, And this is like where you're going to store your energy into the redstone. And then the copper cable is basically the connection on the top. Awesome. Alright, so now we stick that in there since we have a re-battery. We're going to take the 3 refined iron that we got. And do I still have my iron furnace somewhere? Let me guess. I didn't make another one. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Just so that we can repeat the recipe and kind of know how it's made again. So we got the iron furnace, 3 refined iron, and a re-battery. Awesome. And that gets us our generator. Alright, so let's just stick that in our miscellaneous chest over here because I don't actually need that right now. And we'll toss all these in there too. Alright, so now we have the generator that we just made. Alright, the next thing we want to do is we want to run cabling underneath it. Why? Well, this cabling will allow us to connect other machines to the generator. But one of the most efficient ways, well, first of all, we'll make the machines, connect them in, and then I'll show you a more efficient way of having the generator run. So, the next thing I want to make, let's see here. The first 2 machines I always like to make with Industrial Craft. I'm not sure if they are the first machines you should make after making a generator. One is called a macerator, and let me make sure I can find it here real quick. Let's see, machine block. It's some. Oh, there it is. Sweet. So I'm going to spawn a stack of those real quick. Make it dawn. Now I'm just going to drop this down here at the end. If you notice, this just kicked back in. It started igniting, and we've lost a little bit of power. We didn't technically lose it. I went into the macerator here. All right. Now, if we stick an item in here, let's say the copper ore on the top, it's going to start up. And if you can, I don't know if you can hear it with my sound turned down, but it's making like a gravelly sound that's going around. And you'll notice that this is slowly filling up, just kind of like with the furnace, except it's a little bit slower. But what in the world are we going to get out of copper ore, out of the macerator? We got copper dust. What do I do with that? Well, let's see. With copper dust, let's try sticking it in the furnace, since it's a dust. Let's see if it melts. Alright, so we stuck it in the iron furnace. Let's see what comes of this. Let's put some more wood in there for that. Oh, nice. We got a copper ingot. Wait a minute, it's still processing the dust. So we're going to get 2 copper ingots out of every single copper ore that we have. Awesome. So that just made our mining twice as efficient as normal. That's excellent. Alright. So, that is one of the first machines you make. Now, let's see how to make it. Alright, so we're going to go in here, and we're going to click this here. Let's see here. What components do we need? So we're going to need some flint, just vanilla Minecraft stuff, cobblestone, a machine block, and electronic circuit. Alright. I'll show you how to make each one of these. So, first of all, let's make sure we have flint on us. Excellent. Cobblestone. And finally, let's see. I think I have everything else I'm going to need. Pretty much. Let me grab some refined iron just because. Always good to have a stack of that laying around. Got a stack of redstone and a stack of wiring. Alright, sweet. Alright, so the 2 components that are not vanilla Minecraft in there for this recipe. One is a machine block, the other is a chip. So let's start with the machine block. So I showed you earlier how to make an iron furnace. So now we're going to make a machine block that goes inside of, obviously, a machine, the one sitting nearby. So we're going to take refined iron instead of regular iron, because this would make, if I was using regular iron, this should just make another iron furnace. But because I'm using refined iron in this recipe, I get a machine block by putting it around the edge of the crafting table. Now, the other component that I need to make is a chip. Now, the way I always like to think about this, so this uses copper cabling, which I just showed you earlier how to make. We take, and we need 6 of these. We're going to put 1, 2, 3 on both the top and the bottom. And then we're going to put redstone on each end and 1 piece of refined iron. And so a chip is basically supposed to be like the machine's intelligence. What it does, basically. So you got the refined iron, which if you've ever seen a computer chip, if you look at the top of a lot of computer chips, It's not necessarily iron they're using, but it kind of looks silvery, kind of like this. And then, again, remember, redstone is power. And then you got your copper cabling, which conducts signals back and forth for your electronic circuit. That's the way I try to remember it, and it helps me remember how to make this electronic circuit, because there's a lot of recipes I don't remember right off the top of my head in industrial craft. So let's go ahead and grab that out of the crafting table. Alright, now let's go ahead and make our machine. So we're going to stick the flint in the top. We'll stick these in there, the machine block in the center, and that there. And voila, we have our macerator. Alright, let's stick that over here since we already have one built here. Now, the next machine I always like making after the macerator is an extractor. Let's see how that one's made. Alright. What this machine does, basically, is it'll extract things from different stuff a lot of the stuff is specifically industrial craft, but it will also extract stuff out of vanilla Minecraft items. But there's only certain stuff it'll do. Alright, so we need another machine block and another electronic circuit, some tree taps. Okay, so all this stuff you now know how to make. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go machine block, and I'm going to get a whole stack of those. A chip. Oh, I think it's called a circuit, actually. Yep. Awesome. And then I needed tree taps. Let's see, I already have 2, so I need 2 more for this recipe. Alright, so we're going to go stick those in the crafting table. Excellent. Machine block and a chip. And there we have our extractor. Let's go ahead and stick that down to the macerator, and you'll notice again this kicked in as soon as I did that because it's building up power, this little indicator. Now, the battery that I was showing you earlier, let me go ahead and spawn one of those in, because I want to show you something else you can do with these re-batteries. So let me just do one. I could take this and stick it in the, I believe, the top here. Yep. Alright, and that will drain the generator. But it's draining it into the battery, actually. Now, if I didn't want to connect these machines directly to my generator, but I wanted to use the generator for power, I can actually do that. So let's go ahead and stick this macerator over here. We're going to stick the re-battery in the bottom. And, that has worked in the past. Let's see here. Oh, I just had to put something in to get it to analyze, basically. Alright, so apparently it won't pull power until it absolutely needs it when you have a battery in there. That's a change that they did since I played like the old versions of Industrial Craft, because I haven't actually used batteries in most of my machines nowadays. So, but this works great because then you don't have this running constantly. You only run it when you actually need to charge your batteries. So it's definitely an efficient way of doing that, basically. So, all right. So now we have our basic machines. Oh, I do need to show you what this extractor does. I almost left off without actually showing you what it does. So, the resin that we got earlier, let's go ahead and spawn in a stack of it. What we got from the trees, and you usually get an average of between 1 to 3. You can sometimes get more actually than that. I've seen some trees do 4 or 5 resin out of one spot, and there's a lot of times multiple spots on each tree. Alright, so let's go ahead and stick this in the extractor. We're only going to stick one so I can actually show you what it does. And our generator kicked in again because it's pulling power basically to extract this. Now, as you remember, when we did this in here, well, I didn't want redstone in there. When we put this in the furnace, and let me actually put it in the iron furnace to make it just a little bit faster. Let's see which one actually finishes here first. About the same timing since I put this one in late. Alright, so we got 1 rubber. Alright. What do we get out of an extractor? Ooh, 3. So an extractor is going to make us more efficient when we're getting sticky resin. But that won't be the only use, as I will show you in later Let's Learn episodes. So there we go. Those 2 machines are going to save you so much time, because you will not have to go back down to your mine as often with the macerator, because you'll get twice as many ingots to use, and with the extractor you won't have to go out as often to collect resin off these trees. It's still a good idea to cut these trees down, if there's not some like right next to you, to cut them down, make sure you get as many saplings out as you can of these trees, and then bring them back and plant them near your house. That way you can always have a rubber farm right there, just in case. Because, I mean, even with the extractor being so efficient, keep in mind, each one of these two machines requires a chip. That's 6 wires, basically, plus all the wiring that goes underneath. So rubber is going to be very, very useful as you go along, basically. All right. Now, a generator is not the only way to generate power, honestly, in industrial craft, but it's one of the main ways in the beginning, basically, because it is the cheapest and easiest way of doing it. Let's see, beyond that, alright, so now we got all the basics down, pretty much, for the machines, and that should basically get you up and running for your stuff. Now, the next thing I need to show you, and let me actually dig out the ground here a little bit. Let me turn myself back into creative mode so it'll make it a little bit easier. I'm still not liking where the sound is. Haven't quite figured out exactly. There we go. Alright. Another thing to warn about. This is especially in multiplayer, but it's also not a good idea to do it in single player because it will tax your computer more than it would normally. So I'm gonna actually show you what I'm talking about here. So let's see. I need to turn off creative mode again. And let's see. Where's my wiring? There it is. Okay. Never do this. See that? That's looping. So basically it's looping the power in a circle and a circle and a circle over and over again. And it causes your computer to have to do calculations every time it goes in a circle like that. And you can end up literally burning out your CPU sooner than your computer would normally by running wires like that. Like, depending again on how much of that you do, but just try to run a single line. Like, basically, this isn't a loop because this connects to a machine, this connects to a machine, and that connects to a machine. But if I start looping other wires behind it, that's when it creates a problem and starts causing a lot more calculations. And you will actually notice a drop in your frame rate in Minecraft, basically because of it. So anyway, it's a good idea on both servers and single player. Never ever loop your wiring. That's the #1 tip I can give you on that. Alright, so let's knock out some of this wiring. And we're going to run it down here. Now, why am I knocking out wiring? Well, I'm going to be making a new device here. Now, this one is called a BAT box. Try this again. It stands for an abbreviation for battery box. And why would it be called that? Because if you look at the inside of the recipe, it uses 3 of the batteries, 1 copper cable, and wooden planks. Let's go ahead and make that right now. Alright, so I had a battery, or actually I have 3 of them. Let's go ahead and stick the copper cable in. Let's see, do I have a stack of wood on me? I do not. Let's see. Let's just do something about that right now. Let's drop this flower out of my inventory. I don't really want that right now. There we go. Whoops. Went out of the crafting table. Alright, let's put the wood where it's supposed to be. Then we'll put the batteries in. And finally we'll put the copper cable. Alright. So what exactly does this battery box do? Well, let's find out. Now, this varies depending on the texture pack you have. I personally prefer Sphax Pure DB when I'm doing industrial craft because it makes this so much easier. But I'm going to be showing you in vanilla Minecraft, and let's hope I don't explode my own wiring. So I'm going to connect that there. Oh, looks like it connected properly. So any of these sides, and let me just dig out a little bit so you can see, that have no markings on them are input sides for the battery box. So it has, let's see, there are 4 sides that are that way, and then 1 this side. So I'm saying there's 5 inputs, and then 1 output. And you see how this has like a, well, it looks like a copper output here? We're going to connect our wiring into that. And the reason why is because that will provide power to our machines over here. Now, it's not going to send any power to them at the moment because they're already full of power. But if you look in here, that generator is pushing all of its power into this bat box. And if you'll notice, the bat box says that its output is 30 EU a tick. And I believe that's an abbreviation, if I remember correctly, for energy units and then the slashes per tick. So every time the clock ticks, basically in Minecraft, it can output 32 EU to a machine, which is perfect because that's exactly what these machines need right now. Alright, so that's going to basically drain the entire generator. So we're going to want to put some more wooden planks in there. Wooden planks are one of the most inefficient ways of powering this, in a way. I mean, it still produces power, but you'll run through these so quickly. The best thing you can do is either have coal or charcoal. But I would suggest, above all, to use charcoal, simply for the very fact it produces, I believe, either the same or equal to the amount of energy that a regular coal does, and coal actually will have other uses further into the Let's Learn series, and also in Industrial Craft. Alright, so now we have a basic setup, because we have our generator, we have our storage device, and we have our basic machines to get started with. But I'm not done yet. There are a few other basic machines that we can have fun with here. So let's clear out a little bit more area. Now, we have this iron furnace over here, and that's all fine and dandy for starting out with, because that's one of the first ones you'll be able to make. But we need to, at least I always like with Industrial Craft, I like making stuff faster. So each iteration that I can make faster is awesome. So I want to make an electric furnace. And before I do that, let me get some stuff out of my inventory here. Now that I've demonstrated them. Let me just drop all of this into here for the moment. I may come back and grab some of this in a minute. Alright, so we have an iron furnace and then we have an electric furnace. Well, what does an electric furnace do? Well, it has an electronic chip, it has an iron furnace in it, and some redstone. Okay, so I've already shown you how to do the electronic chips. We'll need to grab the redstone out of this. And we need this iron furnace. Now, with this basic iron furnace, I can pick that up with a pick. No problem. Picks right up. Do not try that on one of these machines. You have a partial chance that you'll lose them. And I don't know exactly what the amount is, but it's not a good idea, basically. Don't ever pick up your machines with pick. You will end up losing them pretty much all the time, especially with the pick directly. There's actually devices made specifically just for that. Alright, let's go ahead and make a electric furnace. And this one's awesome. Alright, so we got all of our components. Let's put that electric furnace down. This is going to turn the generator back on because it needs some power to power up. There we go. Alright, now let's do a speed comparison. Let me see, I think I still have some resin over in this chest here. Sure do. We're not comparing this to the extractor now, we're just comparing this to the iron furnace. Look how much faster. That's almost twice the speed. I mean, take a look at that compared to this. That is way, way faster. I mean, this is still working on it. Wow. But there's even one that goes up even above that. But I'll show you that in a later episode, at least how to make it. It's called an induction furnace. But we're not quite there yet. We're just doing basic machines for now. All right. Let's see. Those are the three basic machines I love. The other thing that I want to make right now, because you'll need this for a lot of your machines. It's very energy intensive, but it's well worth it. And you already saw it in my inventory here, and it's an electric wrench. So let's actually see what the recipe is for that. It requires a regular wrench, which I will show you how to make, an electronic circuit, and a rebattery. Okay, so I've already shown you how to make an electronic circuit and a rebattery. Alright, so how do we make a wrench? Well, let's look up the recipe for that. Alright, so it takes bronze. Wait a minute. We don't have bronze. We have tin, we have copper, we have iron, but we don't have any bronze. How do we get that? Well, let's find out. Bronze dust. Oh, alright. So we need tin dust and we need copper dust. Okay, so for each tin dust that we have up here and 3 copper dusts, we get 2 bronze dust. Okay, that sounds simple enough. Let's try, let's see. The macerator, the macerator makes dust. So let's go ahead and grab our copper and tin ore back. And I'll show you the basics here. So we'll go ahead and macerate that up. And we can do the same thing with the copper, and then we'll obviously get out tin dust and copper dust out of it. So let's just say I already did that, just for efficiency's sake here. Alright, so let's go over to the crafting table. Let me clear my search that I did here, so that I can actually see what I'm doing. Alright, we'll put the tin dust up here, and the copper dust down here, and that gets us 2 bronze dust. Awesome. Let's see, we need a few more of those, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, I think that's all I'll need. Yep, that should, 6 bronze dust should do me good. Alright, this is one of the first tools that you should always make in industrial craft. You'll be thankful you did in the future. Alright. So, let's see here. We'll grab out that tin dust. Awesome. We'll go ahead and stick this bronze dust in the electric furnace. Let it do its thing. And then, of course, out of that, we get our bronze ingots. Awesome. Alright. So let's just go ahead, since we know how that's made now, we're going to spawn in a whole stack of the bronze. We're going to use that to make our wrench. Alright, so now we have our 3 basic components. We have our chip. We have... oh, I'm missing my batteries. Huh. Reminds me of the outside of packages, batteries not included. In this case, they weren't. Alright, so a wrench, electronic circuit, and a re-battery. And there's an electric wrench. Now, since this is a power storage device, we should be able to take the wrench and stick it in the top slot. Hey, what do you know? And that fully charged it. That was quick. Alright, let's actually stick this other one in here. So it takes about 1,000... yeah, but no, about 10,000 EU, which is not actually a ton to charge one of these. Alright. Now, I can just right-click with this wrench, and this will pick up these. And because they're basic machines, most of the time I'm going to get them up with this electric wrench. However, if I want to make absolutely sure that I don't lose it, I can press M while I have the wrench equipped. So it's just M on the keyboard, and then right-click, and it says Lossless Wrench Mode Enabled. Perfect. Alright. Now, if I right-click one of these machines, that pulls the machine and drops anything that was in it. Hey, I got my electric furnace back. That's awesome. Alright, let's just drop that back down. Awesome. Excellent. Alright. Now, I'm not sure exactly why this didn't happen. It may just be a minor glitch, but typically when you put this in lossless mode, you will drain the entire wrench. Just picking up one machine, basically. So, it takes a lot of energy, but it's well worth it, basically, to pick up your machines. Alright. Well, that shows you the basics of Industrial Craft 2. I hope you enjoyed today's Let's Learn. There will be upcoming episodes teaching you more beyond the basics and kind of getting you into the different aspects of it. Anyway, I hope you all have a good day. See you next time. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to help me improve or have ideas for future videos, leave it in the comments below or send it to techntux@gmail.com.